Alright guys, so in this one we are just going to create a basic artboard. So to do this you need to make sure that you are in the design tab and that you have this particular tool here. So that's your selection tool, have that selected. And then another little tip is if you happen to be zoomed in and you get a little bit lost, just know that you can always hit Command 0 and that'll take you back to the start and you'll be able to figure out where you are on the artboard. So what we need to do now is I'm going to zoom in on this first particular little task here, create and style an artboard. And we're very simply going to create an artboard. So an artboard is basically your screen and that's where your content's going to be. So what we can do next is I'm going to come down to the artboard tool here. And don't copy me yet, but what you could do is you could draw out an artboard to a particular size, and you can see that we've got some sizes in pixels here that are representing that. Or if you hit Command Z and you've copied me, or if you've made a mistake, you can hit Command Z. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to choose a default size. So based here, now you can see I'm in the artboard. I've got some default sizes that are for particular devices. So it's already pre-built in there. So I'm just going to click on iPhone 13. And then what I can do is come back up to my selection tool and I have my artboard there ready to go. Now, if you want to, you can move the artboard by clicking it and moving it around like that, or even on the top of the text here. And the other thing you need to do is, or you can do, is rename that artboard by double clicking. So I'm going to rename this artboard and I'm going to call this Home, because this is the home screen of this particular app here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this piece of content here and drag it over the top. So to do that, make sure you have your selection tool there, drag select over the top. And just be careful because you can just select individual elements. So I could move that and then I could hit Command Z to move it back. So all these things are, broken into their individual elements. But what I want to do is drag select over everything to ensure that everything's selected. And I could use my arrow keys to bump it over and hold Shift and bump it over, or I'm going to click and drag it. Both will work into this piece of content here. Okay, now what you can see is that the particular screen I've chosen is too big for the content, so I'd need to either adjust the content or choose a smaller screen. But for this particular tutorial, I'm not too worried about it. You can leave it there, that's totally fine. Now what I'm going to show you can do is we can do a quick preview. So over here, we've got a play button. And if you hit that play button, you can see it'll preview your screen that we've just created. Now, why is that important? Well, when we get into creating more screens and interactivity in the prototype stages, the idea is to then preview those screens and make sure they're working okay. So the workflow is basically you design it, create the graphics, you then move over to prototype where you can create some interactions. And then as you do that, you regularly hit play. And you can, by selecting the correct artboard, you can test your prototypes as you go. Alright guys, that's that one done. So make sure you hit Command S to save your work. And in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to import some content and pictures and things like that and use something called the Repeat Grid tool. Thanks guys.